Hey y'all, thanks for helping me annotate nodules today. I'm just going to go through in this video and walk through the steps and process of what you're going to do in order to properly annotate them the same way every time. So once you get your surface, the first thing you're going to do is go into the top right corner. I'll have Matlab ready to go up there. So you'll double click it and it will open up. Give it a little bit. It usually takes a while to fire up and gets the horses running. They're a little cold when they first get going. Once it is open, what we're going to do is set our file path. This is super important to make sure that the files get saved and you can open them from the right places in the computer. In order to do so, you will go to this folder with the browse for folder right here. You'll click on that, and for us, we are going to go into the box sync folder. Every computer will have this loaded on it, and you're going to go to the photos for labeling folder. Now, these options that you can see here might look different on each computer, but all we care about is the photos for labeling. So we're going to select that, and we're going to select folder, and you should see all of these change right here. Now, what we want to do is just to make sure that all of these are in the directory is hit photos for labeling. Right here, so photos for labeling. And when you, so it's already in the path here. So as long as these are dark black, they are in the path. You see here these kind of grayed out ones, that means they are not in the path. So in order to make something in the path, you would right click on it, hit add path, select folders and subfolders. So we've already got our photos for labeling selected, that's what we want. So now we are actually ready to begin annotating the nodules. So in order to do so, we're going to open up apps up here in the top left. We're going to bring our drop arrow here, and we want the image labeler. So we're going to click image labeler, and it should open up a new, like a new box to be able to work out of. Once it opens here. So once the image labeler is open, we are going to load images from folder. And since we've made our file path available, we're just going to click whichever folder you're going to be working on in this session. So for today, we're going to be working on the V11. These will change throughout time as I add more pictures in. So just know which folders you're going to be working on and work on that folder and finish it before you move on to the next. So only one person will annotate the photos in a folder at a time. And each folder will have either 9 or 10 photos in it. So we're going to go ahead and open up our V11. And we have to select all of these photos. So you can either go through and click each little checkbox, but I would recommend hitting the Control and A key at the same time. And then hit Open. That should bring all 10 photos in. We only work with 10 at a time because it takes a little while to label them, and the more photos that you try to label at one time, it really starts to slow Matlab down and it gets kind of messy by the time you get to that 8, 9, 10th photo trying to label. It can really slow things down. So once we have our photos open, we're going to define a new region of interest label. So this little box will come up down here, and we want to hit just a simple N. And then we're going to go to label description and say nodule. And then we will hit OK. So you should see your N pop up right here. Then the next thing we want to do is hit save. And we're going to save as. And in this one, we want to go into the Matlab files file. So you open that up. And we are going to label it whatever file folder you're working in. So this is the V11 folder, so it'll be V11 underscore, and then leave image labeling session.mat. Once you hit save, this is kind of like hitting save as on your Word documents whenever you're trying to type a document. And so Microsoft Word's pretty good about trying to save as while you are typing and doing things, but Matlab does not do that. So you have to go through and hit save in between each photo that you label. So once you move to a new photo, just hit save again. And once you do the save as, you can just hit save session and it'll save everything the way you've already done it. So let's look at actually labeling some nodules. So you've got several, these are the 4 main functions you're going to be working with up here: zoom in, zoom out, pan, label. We're going to zoom in on this root first. So you'll just pick a little section, and then we're going to start to look for nodules. So I'm only going to do a few here just for this example, but we can work one-on-one a little bit more to try and make sure we're all annotating the right nodules correctly. Once you've zoomed in on a section, you can start to see some of the little nodules starting to appear. You got one here, one here, one here, one here, one here. We want to capture all those. That way, when we feed these images through our machine learning algorithm, it's able to see what we've selected as nodules. So what I did is I clicked label, and I'm going to come here into where I see the nodule. I like to pick from the top left corner, and then I will click and I hold the clicker down and I drag over the nodule. So now it's labeled my nodule. Some of these smaller ones are a little tougher to actually see inside where you've labeled. You'll get the hang of it as you keep going. You can kind of see right here how I'm making sure that the edges of that box are right up against the edge of the nodule. So on this one, I'll zoom in a little bit more just so we can see it easier. So you can see this nodule, this nodule, this nodule. So when we're labeling, we don't want to get underneath the top of the nodule or off to the sides. So yes, my bounding box is around this nodule, but here at the top, it's not completely on the top of the nodule. And here on the side, I've got a lot of open blank space that's not actually nodule. So it's really important that we get it on the real nodule itself. So I'm going to move it, and I'm going to bring these bounding lines in so that they fit the actual nodule there. This one I'm going to take just a little bit more up there. There we go. So that's actually bounding the entire nodule itself. And then I'll just go ahead and grab this one as well, making sure I'm on label. There we go. The pan function allows you to move the picture. Oh, I zoomed out somehow. Zoom in. So whatever you zoom in on, that's the actual part of the picture that will zoom in. Make sure you zoom in to where you want to go. But with pan, then you can just move through the picture in order to keep selecting nodules. So I'm just going to move on from this point. We'll keep labeling these later, but I'm going to save my session. Save. And then say I want to go to the next picture. All I will do is just click on that picture, and then I can zoom in and start labeling those nodules as needed. So once I'm done labeling all of the nodules, all 10 photos, I'm going to save my session one more time, and then I'm going to go to export labels. I want to export to file. Once again, I want to make sure I go to the Matlab section, and then I want to say V11, that's the folder I'm working on, V11 labeled. Once I do that, I hit save, and all of those new folders should be in the Matlab folder. Here I can see the session that I've been working on and the actual labels that I've exported. They're both here and they are ready to go. So once again, just walking it through, you'll open up Matlab, make sure your file path is set. You'll begin your new project using your label imager. And then once you have that done, you'll save session, you'll label away, find all the nodules that you can, making sure that they're tight bounding boxes, and then you'll export the labels into that Matlab folder. So if you have any questions, please don't be afraid to ask. Thanks.